get into, like always. My name is Chanella, and this is Roxy, and we're ready to get into this episode. Before we get started, Roxy, how's your day? How's your week going so far?
My day is good. I have no complaints. Last week, I DJ'd online and I got 500,000 views, which is
Oh,
freaking awesome.
that's amazing.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just trying to do big shit, big balling, making lots of money around at the club and shit.
Okay,
What about you?
nothing great like that. It's been a pretty good year so far. 2022 has been a breeze. I hope it stays like that. Usually after summer is when the real shit goes down. But yeah, let's get into a topic of discussion. Is it a good idea to get into business with someone that you're in a relationship with? What are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I would like to keep things separate,
Sorry.
but it's hard sometimes because in LA, it's a small circle. We often see each other. It's kind of like you can't help it in some ways.
Okay.
Yeah, but I try to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, I think I feel you. I feel you. Honestly, it's a good and a bad thing. I'm personally okay with it. I think that if you find the right person and that person have the right qualities and respect each other's roles, I think it's a great thing to get into business with a partner. I don't see the big fuss about it. Even having a business partner, that's a marriage by itself. So if I were to choose a partner to get into a business with, it would either be my friend that I know really well, or a person that I've dated, or my wife, or someone that I know our relationship is really sturdy.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good recipe. My,
All right. So that's a good segue to go into the pros and cons.
for sure.
What pros do you have either looking back or looking forward in regards to possibly working with your partner?
I don't care what no one says. If you own a company, you own a business, if you don't have a partner, it's a lonely journey. And it could also still be lonely, even if you have a partner, because you may have a creative partner and you may have the business minded partner. And the business minded partner might be going through God knows what, and they feel like they're alone in their journey. And the creative person may also feel the same way too. If you're in a relationship and then you could also do a business together, that's like taking a shower and being able to have a conference call in the shower with your partner. Or like if you're on a holiday, you need to handle something quickly. Your partner could also understand that because they're in the business.
I like to miss my partner, and some people have problems separating the two, especially if you have a disagreement about work. They could also bring that home and try to keep discussing that. And that's just something that it sounds like I wouldn't want to do.
Communication is key. People don't really know how to communicate. And we as human beings, I know for sure I get uncomfortable at times when it's time to have some real serious, hard conversations. But you just have to put your big girl panties on and be like, all right, we're going to talk about this. Knowing how to resolve conflict. That's a problem. To know how to resolve a conflict with the partner that you have. Again, it all depends on who you're with. And sometimes you don't know who you really get married to until money's involved as well. But I think knowing how to resolve conflicts, sharing values and goals with each other, and those are good pros.
I don't mind dating people in the entertainment industry because they do understand the weird schedules. You might have friends in common, which can be a pro and a con, but it's really cool when your circle of people just get along.
But for some people, that's actually not a good thing. And that's how you sometimes you see that people are dating people within circles and they don't go outside of that circle. Boundaries are important. Set those boundaries. If
So, without getting too deep or too personal, can you tell me if you've ever mixed business with pleasure and how that works?
I've totally mixed business and pleasure. And sometimes it happens without you even thinking it's going to happen. I'm always ready to help someone start a business or help give them ideas because that's just what I like to do. And sometimes lines could be a little bit blurred. Sir Pharrell's and Robin thinks so blurred lines. I mean, I could speak on my mistake
Yeah.
and what I wish I didn't do. If you disappoint that person, it can mess up the relationship. You feel a little bit more of a spotlight on you to make sure it's done the right way, which could also mess up your things that you're doing because you're so focused and headstrong on making sure that person is getting what they need. But I could also say there are times that I have gotten myself into situations of crossing the line with someone I already started working with and got into a relationship with. And I'm not with them anymore. So that didn't work out either.
Yeah.
But it happens. We're human beings. We love, we lust. Like sometimes you see someone in your work element and you're like, damn, fine. And you don't really think about the work aspect at that point. Then you go for 1 or 2 drinks and it happens. If anyone says it doesn't happen, they're lying. Would I do this now? No. But like when I was younger and not thinking straight, I go after what I want. Sometimes it's not always the best thing, but it happens. I could always give you my pros and cons on why it worked and why it didn't. Just that simple.
Okay.
What about you?
I think it was an accident. What they always are.
Are there really accidents?
One time we were not working together, but kind of in a corporate sense due to school. And we were in the same class together. And then after school was done, we got put on the same assignment. I'm a bossy chick.
Got it.
And I think women working with men and being in a relationship, you have to protect that person's ego. And sometimes they're not doing what they need to do and it affects the relationship. So that's why I wouldn't want to do it again. Because
Got it.
if you ask me for advice, I'm going to give it to you and it's probably going to hurt you.
Plus the thing with getting into business with people that you have relationships with, you are protecting the partnership and not an ego. So partnership over ego. And honestly, I don't think it's a man-woman type of thing either, because I've worked with women and may not have particularly been in a relationship with them, but at the same time, I also had to protect their ego in certain ways because it's a very thin line in being honest and letting people know what you want and really bruising someone's ego, right? If someone were to come to me and be like, your designs suck or blah, 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 and my ego would be ready to get into a tussle. But then, like, then the other part of me which wants to grow would be like, oh, well, tell me how you think they suck. Now, if you can't tell me how my designs suck, then I can't take your word seriously. It's F you. But if you're going to be working with a partner, a spouse, a friend, or someone you're dating, I think it's very important to understand that rule, like partnership over ego. And if that person can't understand that, which you should be able to know, because in your case, it was an accident, right? So,
Yeah, that was the accident. There was another time where my judgment was clouded and I wasn't thinking straight. And I never let that happen again.
I think we've all been in that.
Yeah, so you learn.
You live and you learn. If they're really good at what they're doing, and then you already had some sort of lust for that person, see them in your work element, you might be like, damn. For me, I gain so much respect for them. The quality, especially if they're really good at what they're
But if
doing.
they're not,
If they're not good at what they're doing, it's a turn off for all aspects. It's a turn off for the relationship. It's a turn off for working. It's just a turn off. I hate a person who sweats, all right? I'm in a relationship now, but if I was single and I was to be around a girl and she's going hard and working and doing what she's doing, she's doing a fabulous job. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, sweat on. Let me wipe your sweat for you. Because you get to look at something a little bit different and you like that person a little bit more. So do you care about your partnership with that person and your business, or do you care about your ego? And you got to eliminate one.
would you ever turn down a job to keep that relationship separate?
No, that's absolutely ridiculous, mate. Why would I do that? Turn down a job to keep a relationship separate? There's no way that's happening. I will keep working. After we're done working, I'll see you outside.
Now, the new type of work environment, do you think having an Instagram together is a good idea? Because some people build their brand on their relationship.
I think with YouTubers who do have channels together with their partners, some of them do have the individual social media pages. You have some YouTubers who rise together and made a lot of money. That's great for them. Do I think you should have an Instagram with your partner? No. I think there should be some form of privacy in relationship. Trust is important, just like trust is important to be in a partnership with a friend. All those things matter.
All right. Let's segue into
Cons.
yeah.
The con. I think not talking about what could happen if you were to split up with the person or the person, God forbid, passes away. Your partner should be okay with having these kind of difficult conversations. Okay, what if we don't last? What are we going to do next? Some people take a split up really rough and they're not thinking about the business.
Yeah.
But if you format some sort of like NDA for married people, they have the prenuptial agreements. I think that your partner should be okay with signing off on these things.
I am all for having people that I'm in a relationship with sign NDAs because I'm not trying to have anybody disparage my name. While an NDA is not an absolute that they won't say anything, it's definitely a deterrent.
And it has to be revisited time to time
Yeah,
as
no,
well. Because once villains are involved, we tend to move on villains more than we are to move on logic. No one really prepares himself for a split up. Unless you're a female and you've been done and you already mentally gave up on the person. But the male in that aspect who never prepared for this split, they might do something detrimental to the partnership. So I think it's important to have that conversation. And that could be a con if you don't have the conversation. Like, this shit just blows up in your face. And the company now has to be dissolved. Yeah.
Wow. So circling back, seems like such a great idea, right? I don't know.
If you guys could still keep a great relationship while splitting up, that means you guys had great communication. You get mad, that just shows me who the hell you are.
Okay. That being said, I'm all for believing that I am not the exception to the rule. In my past relationships, I'm not the exception to the rule. So I'm not going to operate like I am. Maybe that's not the most positive way to look at things, but I think that it keeps me a little bit focused. I'm glad you gave your insight. I thought it was helpful for a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially young people.
I think the parent generation, majority of them is like men go to work and women don't do anything. And then we come along and we're just like, no, we're going to do what we want to do. And we are going to possibly have businesses with our partners. I think it just happens to be a lot about maturity as well.
I'm a child.
You got to communicate. Whatever you're about to communicate is something that you feel like is going to hurt that person's feelings. You got to figure out how to come to that person to speak to them about it, which also leads up to the fact of like knowing who you're getting into business with, because then you would know how it would affect them mentally, which could also affect them work. And you just talk about things. I don't think it's a bad thing, necessarily. On a logical level, you make more money.
So raise your hand if you think it's a good idea. Raise your hand if you think it's a terrible idea. We're split. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to our Air Talks 4th episode.
Leave a comment on what you guys think about this topic. Have you guys done it before?
Yeah.
Is it something that you guys thinking about doing? And what's your experience while doing it? Yeah, comment below. DM us. Chat us. Something.
Yeah. If you think you should be in a relationship with me, you know my Instagram. All right. I'm going to cut that out. Thank you